Why is everybody secretly waiting for their life to start? Welcome back, everybody, to the Detour podcast. I hope you're having a wonderful beginning of the week this week and have had a wonderful weekend. My week has been, kind of good. I've been doing a lot more. I've been posting more shorts, stuff like that. I'm going to be really grinding when it comes to fitness, eating right, doing what I need to with that. I've been kind of falling off with that as well. Let's see what else happened during my week. Liz's birthday was yesterday. She turned 24, so I celebrated that with her this last weekend. And just spending some more time with friends, getting that good old quality time, which I feel like we all kind of need. Other than that, those are probably like the big highlights of my weekend. So I hope you all had a wonderful weekend as well, and I hope we all have a wonderful week. This is the best possible way to start a week on a Monday morning. You and me talking about things. This week is going to be a little bit more, kind of seriousness. It's kind of good to have fun every now and then, but I chose this topic because I agree with it. I looked over the stuff, so it's going to be a little bit more point for point, me talking, not, let me think, blah, blah, blah. I kind of do like the way that this has come together this week. So let's hop right into it. What I wanted to talk about is why we all feel like we need to wait for our life to start before we do anything about it. And I know you all probably are like, I agree with that, because for some reason, I'm still doing that. There's some things that we're going to, kind of talk about, but a few things that tap into a large number of people from their teens, 20s, early 30s, stuff like that, is like making more money, getting into shape, finding the proper relationship. If you want to move, graduating school, getting more confident with yourself, becoming more successful. Like when we all view these things, we're like, okay, what do I need to do to prepare to do that? But I feel like we're always stuck in that preparation phase of, all right, I need to get some gym clothes. I need to get a gym membership. I need to figure out a meal plan. I need to figure out a workout plan for getting fit. But then you kind of get stuck in that thing of, all right, I need to have the perfect meal plan, the perfect workout plan. I need, X, Y, and Z, this and that. And then you kind of get stuck doing that you never actually make it anywhere. Or you start, but then you kind of, that excitement that you have from wanting to start, it's kind of fades. So when the discipline part kicks in, you don't really have the discipline to do it. And then you're kind of stuck in that like, well, I kind of do it, so why don't I look the way I want to look, blah, blah, blah. That's kind of how I am with fitness. I feel like, obviously, personally, I don't feel like I look like I'm not fit. But I feel like with how long I've worked out and how often I work out, I should look way more fit than I currently do. But that's where I don't have, didn't apply the proper discipline for dieting or enough cardio. Because if a huge play is to get your steps in for the day, because that really helps burn some extra calories, get things moving, just doing the proper things that I need to do throughout my day that can become habits and not feel like I'm changing my life for it. But it's just all about that discipline. Again, once I lose weight for social media, once I have more followers, I'll do this. Life, once I move, once I make enough money, it's insane that we spend so much time preparing for life that we don't actually get to live it, right? And I think it's a good thing to talk about, because for me, I'm in my mid-20s. Within, today, 17 days from today, I'll be turning 25. I'm still super young. I saw a post once, and it was talking about if you're in your mid-20s and life was like a 24-hour day, it's only 7 a.m. That's crazy to think about, because then you're like, if it's only 7, it's the beginning of the freaking day. I have all day, which means you have the rest of your life. You have your whole life ahead of you. So you're not too late for anything, and especially with living in Utah, I feel like there's the whole culture of you get married super young. So I had this whole thing of like, all my friends got married at 20, and I thought that because, I'm 25, we're going to be 25, that because I'm not married, I'm falling behind, or because, I'm not at a point where, I have a house or X, Y, and Z, that I'm falling behind everybody else and that I'm not progressing in life. But then you got to look at it. That's just not my path to take. My path isn't to get married right now. My path isn't to get a house and settle down and have families like everybody else. There's a lot of things I want to do, and I'm kind of taking those over priority. Obviously, I want a family, but I want to travel. I want to run races and make all these experiences and push myself. And I feel like when you devote your time to a family, it kind of takes a lot out of you. And with the fact that not everybody makes $1 bazillion an hour, like you can only really feed into one thing at a time. And once I've come to accept that it's okay to want to do these things, and then by the time I'm 30, get married and then pursue a family, then like that's not out of the ordinary anywhere outside of Utah. So like I just got to kind of, take that as it is. And I feel like we all need to take a step back at what we're trying to, do in our lives and realize, is this like unnecessary pressure that I'm applying on myself, or is this just because, other people, the influence? I don't know. So the first thing I want to talk about is the waiting room mentality. It's essentially, like I was saying, preparation. You're in that waiting room preparing to go through those doors, to take the test, to do whatever, but you're stuck preparing. You never make it past to actually use what you prepared for and push on it, right? School, you're preparing for college. There's a lot of things where, okay, well then you go to school, get your degree. Well, now your degree is to help you get a job to do what? To do what? To do what? And now all you're doing is going on this line of like, all right, now I finally have a good job. I finally do this and that. But now you're like 40, you have a family, and you realize I've been chasing this thing and there's so much I wanted to do with my life that I never get done. So yeah, school preparing for college preparing for a career, then your career preparing for retirement. And I feel like we're always getting stuck in preparing for the next phase of preparation, right? You're preparing for the next step, and that next step ends up becoming preparation for another step, for another step, for another step, until the end goal is practically you're going to die, right? You're like 80 and finally retired, but you're too old to really do anything. You don't have the energy, you don't have the whatever you need or have when you're young to do what you want to do. So it's kind of like, how do I get out of that, man? When does the preparation for life end? And how much life do I miss while waiting, right? It's crazy. I mean, I feel like I've done that a lot of like, I really want to travel, so I got to save money. But then life happens and I don't end up doing that. Well, it's because I don't necessarily have enough discipline to not buy the things of like going to the movies or playing some games to do those big things. But as I'm preparing and I'm making these plans and doing stuff, something always comes up. Like I went to Australia earlier this year, and I've been thinking about that for the past like 3 or 4 years to go, and I never ended up going because I've always been too busy preparing, and then I never end up actually going because you get to a certain point where, okay, well, this should take precedent over that. So I'm going to use my money towards that. And then now that I'm spending money, I'm going to do this and that. And then I'm going to prepare again, blah, blah, blah. It's like, if you prepare for it, don't be afraid to sacrifice some things to get what you want, because you can't have everything in life. But we're too busy doing one thing to prepare. And then once we get to where we need to be, we're like, okay, what's next? What do I need to prepare for next? Not, yeah, okay, now I'm in college. This is great. Let me get my degree to do my life and to get a good career. And maybe it's one of those things of once you get your career, instead of being like, I need to set up for a good retirement, you can do that. But also make a huge thing of like, all right, I want to travel. I want to get this, an ATV. I want to learn how to play music. Do that. Make sure you're doing these things and living life, and every day or every week taking a step back and kind of pulling yourself away from how fast everything moves. Because once you kind of get in that one-track mind, you get lost at it. You're always, all right, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do this, I need to do that. Instead of being like, whoa, I have my whole life where I can prepare for, the next major thing while still enjoying my life and living it the way I want to live it and actually being present. So it's one of those things that we just need to realize that we're never going to be prepared as we want to be for certain things. But that doesn't mean we're not ready to do what we want to do. So, no, there's only so much preparation you can do before it becomes excessive and before you end up realizing, holy crap, I spaced out. 10 years has gone by, and well, now I'm kind of waking up ready to do these things, but I've wasted 10 years because, we're too busy not feeling adequate enough or prepared enough to be able to take that next step. I feel like social media makes it so much worse. You see your friends posting about houses, families, traveling, this and that. People you don't even know posting about this crap. And then all of a sudden you feel like, wow, I am so far behind. I need to do better preparation. I need to do this. I need to get a better job that ends up taking 60 to 80 hours out of your week, and you're never having time to do anything because you're working too hard to do this and that because you're comparing yourself to others when you don't know. I mean, you really don't know what other people's lives are behind the scenes. They post what they want you to see, not what you should see, And I feel like I've noticed that too. When I post on Instagram, I post the good moments. I post when I'm having fun, when I'm having these positive experiences. But you don't see my day-to-day life when I'm struggling to get up to go to the gym, or sometimes you struggle mentally and you have a lazy day, or when you're struggling to do this and that, and when your life isn't really as exciting as those pictures or videos make it seem to be. So I mean, it's just insane of it creates the illusion that everyone else's life has already started, when that's not the case. Because I guarantee you, to them, they bought a house, but they're still in that preparation phase. Well, what's next? Enjoy the house, man. If you're buying a house, or you put a down payment on a house to own it someday, make renovations, do stuff, make it your own thing, hold house parties, have fun with it. Don't constantly make the next step of, okay, we need to do this type of family, blah, 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 blah. Enjoy it. You can prepare for the next step while also enjoying it along the way. I feel like you're always comparing your behind the scenes footage to someone else's movie trailer, which is true. Like I was saying, you don't see what happens behind the scenes. You only see what they want you to see. So when you think your days are bad and, I haven't traveled in 2 years, blah, 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 and you see all these people doing all this stuff, well, maybe they're in debt. Maybe they're taking out, credit cards and paying for all this stuff to fill a void, and they're not actually happy with their life, or they're in a relationship they don't want to be in that allows them to do certain things, to have a house, to have this nice car, but, they may be struggling with certain things. So you got to take it as you want your life to be there. All right, I'm going to work on it and take the necessary steps I need to get there, while not getting too distracted in preparing for it that I don't enjoy life and how it is along the way. Because some of the best experiences come along the journey to what you want. There's a quote, let me Google it. I didn't think about this because I just thought about it in my brain. But there's a quote that's talking about it's not about the destination, it's about the journey, or something like that. Let me find it. All right. Yeah, it's not the destination, it's the journey. And I feel like that is a huge thing too. Yes, you enjoy getting the new car. However, everything along the way of finding the car, that's exciting. If you're getting a loan on the car, that's exciting. X, Y, and Z is exciting. And especially if you notice, if you're going on a road trip, right? Half the fun is the fact that you're in the car, driving with your friends, hanging out, eating snacks, listening to music, talking. Then you get there, you have fun. Well, then you have fun on the way back. We really need to look at it as, the destination is what we're striving for, but what matters the most is the journey to it, right? For instance, you want to be a better person. You want to, be more charismatic, play guitar, something like that, right? As you're taking those necessary steps to do it, when you find yourself changing and you make those recognitions of the change, you feel so fulfilled. It's not about, all right, I've made it to who I wanted to become, and then you look back and you're like, nice. It's you feel super accomplished. And I feel as we continue to grow, for instance, right, you want to play guitar, or let's just say you want to be someone who's patient, caring, blah, 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 right? Let's say you get to the part where you're super patient. The person who you want to become is different. There's a new quality to that person, or a new way of how they want to live life or approach things that is different than what was before when you had zero patience. So it's kind of one of those things of, don't be too hyperfixated on the destination of where you want to go in life or what you want it to become, because that destination is an ever-changing thing. But in that journey, you tend to find that when you make an accomplishment that gets you closer to whatever goal you want, you feel really good. And then it makes you, just realize how far you've come and blah, blah, blah. I think, I don't know. Yeah, we all just kind of need to step back every once in a while. I think feeling ready, in my opinion, would be like a myth, right? No one in their lives, unless they're gifted with everything, will ever feel ready to do anything that they want to do. You kind of just need to go do it, right? Like, for instance, nobody feels ready to move. You could be super prepared, but you don't ever feel ready to move. It's one of those things about change that you're kind of reluctant to, as well as you're excited, but you don't feel ready to do it. Nobody feels ready to ask somebody out. You're never going to be 100% confident to ask somebody out knowing it can go some way, right? Unless you're like, Fabio or Mr. Suave, like, I don't know. Nobody feels ready to change jobs, to look for a new job, quit the job you're at and go start a new job. Like, as much as you feel like that's what you need, you're not ready for it. You could imagine a scenario where your life's in a better position for you to make that change. Right? Nobody's ready to start, for instance, like a podcast. I wasn't ready to start a podcast. I didn't have everything I needed. I feel like I didn't have the proper name. We didn't have like a good enough logo, banner. I didn't feel like we had the proper way to make the episodes and editing and all this stuff. I wasn't ready for it. But the one thing I noticed is you just have to start when it comes to anything. You just have to do it. Because as you continue to do it, you refine it along the way. Like the way this podcast has turned out, I feel like would be way different if I just took like a lifetime to try and get it started, to be as perfect as it possibly can be. Because once I make certain changes to get it perfect to where I wanted it a month ago, my definition of perfect is different. And I feel like that's what I love, is I'm not aiming to make this perfect. I'm just, if I have an idea of what I want to change to make it feel more like me, I will do that, and it'll change along the way. Like, I just feel, the way this has become is because of the ever evolving process of it. Not aiming to be perfect, but just to look, what can I improve here and there, and make certain changes. So I feel like, people who seem confident usually are the ones that start before they're actually fully prepared for it. There's a certain level of preparedness that you can be, but I feel like nobody's ever as prepared as they want to be. But those people that you see doing certain things and excelling at certain things, you're like, oh man, they must have really took the time to be as prepared as possible. They're just confident enough to go in knowing, I just need to start. I just need to do it. And then everything will kind of fall into place along the way. A few examples. First YouTube upload, it's not going to be perfect, but once you put it out there, the ball is rolling. You kind of got it. Now, I'm gonna make sure I post every week, like I have been posting every Monday. Well, then it kind of makes me like, no, I've committed to myself to post every Monday. What can I do to make it a little bit better, Sometimes you fall off a track, but knowing you still have to post on Mondays keeps you in that loop. So then you kind of realize, okay, I do need to try a little bit harder. That week was a little lax and I didn't do as much as I could have, but that's not a problem because I'll just pick it up and start again and start making those changes. First public speech, you're not really prepared for it. I've seen people where they talk about how they seem super confident when they talk in public or perform on stage, but they are still super nervous every time they go out. First day at a job, you are nervous. You don't know anything about it. You don't know those people. You're in a new location. It's a whole thing. Like, none of us are truly prepared for it, and I think that's totally okay. So, let's see. Moments you miss waiting. I really do think that's a really good one to kind of look into, right? Waiting to travel. I want to wait to travel till this, and this. Well, then you're just going to really be waiting forever, because unless you have the opportunity to make everything happen, it's almost going to delay itself because you're not just doing it, right? Waiting to date. I want to wait to date till I'm more stable with, money, or I am a bit more fit, or I got more hobbies. Well, you're never going to be there because you're always going to feel inadequate if you're measuring when you're ready to do something based off of what you haven't done yet, right? You just need to do it, because then as you date and you do those things, you progress and you can find the right person way sooner than you would, or you would find them versus not at all. Waiting to create content. Again, you just need to do it. Gavin, he wants to do a music kind of podcast. They talk about their music, any new albums. They listen to it on like the podcast together for the first time, react to it, kind of give their tidbits. He was doing it with his friends, and one of his friends just wants it to be perfect. Oh, we need to get a good editor. We need to edit this. Lighting has to be perfect. Blah, blah, blah. They filmed an episode, but it's not even out yet, and it's been months. I'd say like 3 or 4 months, probably even more since they've done it. And he agrees with me. He just wants to get it out there, but his friend is so reluctant to. And I feel like that's the thing, is you strive for perfectness, but perfect is a state of, like, I'd say vision. You can vision something to be perfect, but nothing in life will ever be perfect. So if you're constantly striving for things to be perfect, you're going to end up essentially like chasing your own tail, right? If your tail is short enough and you'll never be able to reach it, you're chasing it thinking you'll be able to reach it because you can see it, but that's just like your vision of what it could be in its perfect state. And I think you just need to push it, right? Waiting to pursue hobbies. Again, you just got to do them. I got a question for you guys, and this pertains to anything you're doing in life, hobbies, whatever. If nothing changes in the next 6 months, what would you regret not starting today? And I feel like that's a really good thing to think about, because there's so many things that, it's already June, for Pete's sake. June. I remember it being New Year's Eve. I remember celebrating New Year's by myself with Liz and thinking, holy crap, it's already 2026. I feel like I just turned 24. I'm going to be 25 already. I don't even feel 25. I still feel like I'm 18 years old, barely out of high school. Like, time goes by so fast. And I personally regret not starting a lot of things. Like guitar. I've had a guitar for like 5 months, and I haven't played it once since I got it, because life moves too fast and I don't make it a priority. So again, if nothing changes in the next 6 months, what would you regret not starting today? I feel like we all kind of need to look at that and maybe realize that the way society wants us to function, in a way of, copy and paste. Everybody needs to do the same thing. Go to school to get a job, to have a family, to get a house. And then, debt is okay, because as long as you have what every family needs to have from what society deems you need. And then once you get a retirement, like, you'll be totally fine. And life is great, because that's how you should be living life according to us, right? You need to take a step back and realize, okay, I'm not the same as everybody. And I'd say I'm not the same as everybody. I love the idea of traveling. when I went to Australia, I loved every second of it. I love the fact that I don't think school's for me. It's not for everybody. And, being kind of put in a thing of, you have to learn this to be tested on it. I can pick up things. I'm not dumb. I feel like I'm smart and I could pick up on things, but when it comes down to it, I'm just not a good test taker. Like, under certain pressure, I'm not going to remember certain things, but when are you ever going to be put in like intense pressure that you need to know an algebraic equation, right? Typically you do that because that's part of your job, but you remember it because that's just how it is. When you learn it, you're in a setting where there's like not intense pressure on you to remember these things. You just learn them because it's class. And then when you take a test and realizing, oh my gosh, this test is 30% of my grade, and if I fail this test, then my grade basically is like gonna drop a couple letter grades, and now I'm super stressed. And because you're stressed and overwhelmed by it, you just forget things. Like, there's certain people who are really good at that with test taking. I'm not a good test taker, so it's gonna kind of hard to like want to do school. But once I realize that's not for me, okay, my life's a little bit better because I'm not forcing myself to do something that, my family might think I need to, or society thinks you need to. Because it's like, I'm living my life. Why do I need to go to school because you think I need to go to school? I'm not going to be funding your life. I'm not paying for you. Like, you're not dependent on me. So why do I need to do these things if I don't feel like I should do them? That being said, I feel like you need to always have a goal in mind to pursue, because at the end of the day, we all need a job to make money, to live, X, Y, and Z. So you can't be stupid and be like, I'm not going to go to school. I'm just going to sit around and do nothing. But I mean, my alternative is the fact that I really love content creation. I love the creative aspects of it. I mean, again, I've been doing YouTube since before I started high school. And I love being able to come up with ideas for a video, a concept, doing the concept of the video, editing the video, seeing what I can do with editing, making thumbnails, posting it, coming up with more stuff. Like, I enjoy that. And I feel like if I ever got to make this my full-time job where, yeah, maybe I do spend several hours, for a couple of days just grinding and doing stuff like this, I think I'd enjoy it a lot more, because I enjoy the process of it. I enjoy coming up with ideas again and doing that stuff, and the ideas of like making TikTok videos. Those are fun. Skits and stuff like that. That's a completely different realm than making a podcast or doing reaction stuff. It's kind of similar to this, but in the same sense, I got to get content to react to, whether it's stories or videos and stuff like that. So it's a little bit different than just like coming up with bullet points, talking about them. It is what it is, right? So it's kind of interesting to be like, oh, I want to go in and see what I can do with a reaction video or a TikTok video, or maybe I'm going to stream video games, and what am I going to talk about, blah, 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 and how's my personality going to be with that? Like, it's a challenge, but I think it's a wonderful creative challenge that I enjoy. So I feel like if you have a goal that you want to achieve that helps you sustain yourself in life, to live, to be able to eat, to be able to live like, in a house and be able to support yourself in a proper way, go for it. I don't think anybody really needs to go to school for anything unless that's their path, right? There's trade school. Trade school is different. You basically just go in for the thing that you want to apply for. If you want to be an electrician, you only do things that pertain to being an electrician or a plumber. You don't take math or history if you want to, be in a culinary school. Like, there's certain things that just don't make sense if that's just not what's for you. And I encourage everybody to kind of like really jump on what is for you. I mean, I feel like nowadays it's so easy to want to say, I want to do content creation, I want to do this, because it seems super easy, but nobody has the dedication to do what it takes to make it successful. You think it's easy. And I mean, we're growing, we're still, on the come up, but I still can tell, because of the fact that we're 40 something episodes in, and I've posted shorts and stuff like that, and I could do more, right? That there's still so much work left to be done before we get to a point where it becomes sustainable. And a lot of people think, oh, I just got to post the right video. Again, you prepare too much, and then you realize, it isn't as easy as you thought. So it's all about like realizing if that's the path you want to take, you need to be 10 toes in for it. You need to commit to it. You need to do what it takes. And I'm kind of on the thing of like, I'll do what it takes, and then I'll fall off, and I'll do what it takes. And I just need to commit to doing what it takes. Cause I thoroughly do love this. And I feel like taking the pressure off myself to be like, one day every week, I'm going to just crank it out. But instead it's like, all right, if I know that I have nothing to do, right? Well, maybe let me edit a video. Let me film a couple TikToks. So just in case tomorrow I don't have anything or I don't have the time, I could post a few today. I could post a few tomorrow. Or maybe, I'll take 15, 20 minutes to come up with a better topic to talk about more in depth with bullet points and X, Y, and Z, right? So it's just kind of spreading that load, because we all have times where we're not doing anything and we think, I'm so bored, there's nothing to do. But there are things to do. You would just rather do the lazy things. So I encourage you all to just kind of take a step back and realize, what, I guess, realistically do I want to pursue with life? And I really do think, unless it's like absurd of, I don't know. I can't think of an absurd thing, because I feel like nothing is impossible as long as you have the determination and grit to be able to get it done. You could do literally anything. And this is a testament to like the fact that in a couple years' time, this podcast will be significantly bigger, and this will be my only job. And I'll be posting more content, because this is my quote unquote impossibility. So I feel like we all just can really, really do it. I'm going to end with this, and then we'll kind of do the detour and my hot takes and everything. But maybe your life isn't about to start. Maybe you're already in it. Think about that. Life's been moving this entire time. So just as this week goes on and you continue with life and you think about what you want to do, identify just one thing that you're postponing doing. Just one thing. And then maybe act on it and get it done. Don't focus too much on the preparation. Just do what you need to do now to start it, because that ball is rolling a little bit. All it needs is a little nudge, and that little nudge is you doing it. So that is all I have for today on that topic. I feel like that was just so much betterly. Holy crap, I can't even speak. The structure of it was way better. So let's see. Any detour that I had that kind of threw me off. Oh, my car had some weird noises, so I took it in to the auto shop, and I thought, maybe it's going to be a couple $100 for the part, for the whatever. I spent $1,970 on my freaking car a couple days ago. It's not what I was hoping for at all. So that was off-putting. But it needed to be done. So I don't know. I feel like because I didn't have as much money as I needed to be able to pay in full, I had to use a credit card. So now I'm more in debt with that. I think that's what's eating me up a lot more than the amount that I paid, is knowing I couldn't pay in full. And it's just, it's pissing me off. So it is what it is, but I'll get over it and I'll pay off that, and it'll all be good and well. Anything with hot takes? Let's see. I don't know. I don't really think there's been any hot takes that have been kind of on my mind recently, and nothing that I can kind of think of. I don't know. Maybe getting way too into line dancing is kind of an ick for me. Cringy. I mean, I went to the Westerner for Liz's birthday a couple days ago, and seeing people get really into it was just kind of like, I mean, line dancing is fun, but those people who take it too serious is just kind of like, I mean, you do you, but if it was me, I'd charge it right there. So that'll be my hot take for the week. I hope everybody, again, has a wonderful rest of this week and you enjoyed this episode. You're watching on YouTube, you know what to do. You're listening on Spotify, you also know what to do. And we'll see you next week. Much love.